Hey everyone, how's everyone doing out there tonight? Blake here, coming at you live here from North Bay on this Monday evening. Right, yeah, how is everybody doing out there? I'm glad you can join me tonight. And I figured I would join on a live session since it's been a while since I actually been on a live session, so I decided to do a session because I got this question, interesting question I got the other day from someone, and they were wondering about sodium, and I thought maybe I'd come on quickly to just like a quick live session just to go over sodium. What's the deal with sodium? So I think tonight what I'm going to do is I am going to just go over this question that I got asked from this person who wanted to know, does sodium make you fat? Right? Does sodium make you fat? And that's a good question because sodium is one of those things that it's this mysterious element, right? It's like this mysterious thing. Nobody's quite sure what it does. But they hear things on the news that sodium can make you fat, right? and I mean that's a good question because let's face it, sodium is one of those things that we don't quite really understand what it does and how it contributes really to for how it contributes to making someone gain weight. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go quickly just to break it down for everyone and how sodium, in particular, the amount of sodium that one ingests and how it affects their body weight. Now, the first thing you have to understand about sodium is that we need sodium, right? We need sodium. Sodium is an electrolyte, and it is responsible for helping our bodies function properly. In particular, muscle contraction. When we contract our muscles, right? Sodium is partly responsible for that contraction. It helps to bridge that gap of neurons that make sure that your muscles fire correctly. Now, have you ever seen those long distance runners on TV? By the time they make it to the finish line, they're like, they're cramping up, they're spasming. They can't function, they're walking funny, and sometimes they fall on the ground, and you know what that is? That is a lack of electrolytes, mainly sodium. And this happens to a lot of athletes who are sodium depleted. It happens a lot to bodybuilders as well. When they try and deplete a lot of sodium near contest time, they start cramping up severely. Their muscles, they can't control their muscles. So what ends up happening when you lack sodium, one of the electrolytes, potassium being the other electrolyte, but when you lack sodium, your muscles cannot contract the way they need to contract. So we do need a certain amount of sodium in our systems that will allow our bodies to function properly on a day-to-day basis, right? Make sense? All right. So, but here's the thing. Sodium doesn't make you fat. We need sodium. We need a certain amount of sodium on a daily basis to help us function. Excess sodium. Excess sodium is the one thing that it doesn't contribute, it doesn't make you fat in the way you think it makes you fat, right? Excess sodium. Not like the way excess carbohydrates, for example. Excess carbohydrates, over and above what you need on a daily basis, will be converted to sugar, which, if it's not used, gets converted to fat, right? That's how it works. If you have too much carbohydrates in the system, over and above your basal metabolic rate, those excess carbohydrates are going to convert to sugar, which will metabolize into body fat. Same thing with protein. Protein, for example, if you have too much protein in your system, will metabolize into fat with some of the amino acids being excreted out of your body in urine. But some of those proteins will metabolize into fat when you have an excess amount of it. And the same thing goes with fat, right? Too much fat will metabolize into fat, body fat, right? So here's the thing about sodium though. Sodium does not metabolize into fat as the way that carbohydrates, protein, and fats do. Nope, they don't metabolize. Excess sodium doesn't metabolize into fat. And that's the thing. We need a certain amount of sodium for us to function. But excess sodium doesn't metabolize into fat. Excess sodium will actually build up in your cells and in your body. When that happens, your body will gain water weight. And when it gains water weight at the cellular level, remember this, when excess sodium will cause your body to retain a lot of water at the cellular level. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that your cells will start filling up with water, and this is what it's like. Excuse me, I'm just going to shut this window here. So this is what it's like. Excess sodium in your body doesn't allow your body to function the way it's supposed to function. I know what I said before is that we need a certain amount of sodium for our bodies to function. But when we have an excess amount of sodium in our bodies, it works in the opposite direction. Try and imagine your body as being a house, right? And sodium being the doors and locks on your body as the house, right? So you get a lot of things going into your body. And what ends up happening on an ideal level is that your body gets rid of toxins, excess proteins, carbohydrates, fats, so on and so forth. But what ends up happening when you have an excess amount of sodium in your body is it puts up these blocks. Those doors in your body shut. They lock. They don't let anything out. That's the excess water in your body. They don't allow anything out. And that's how sodium contributes a lot of times to fat, because those excess amounts of calories, protein, fat will metabolize a lot sooner into body fat, just because sodium puts up these blocks in your system. They build up at a cellular level, fill with water, body gets bigger, puffier, and nothing gets out. Nothing gets out. It gets metabolized into fat. And that's how excess sodium contributes to weight gain, body fat, excess, to gain body fat. And, and that's the thing about excess sodium. Now, like I said before, we do need a certain amount of sodium for our bodies to function. But that being said, the only problem with a lot of things at the grocery store are packaged foods. With packaged foods. And the thing about packaged foods is that they're laced with sodium in order to keep them fresh, right? In order not to keep them fresh, but to keep them. Like canned foods, right? Anything canned or packaged is going to be laced with sodium. Especially as I did a video before about instant noodles. Instant noodles are a notorious culprit for having a huge amount of sodium in them. And when you have these types of foods in your body on a regular basis, what's going to end up is that the sodium is going to build up in your body. It's going to build up at the cellular level. And you are going to retain a lot of water. And when that water builds up in your system, it doesn't let anything out. It doesn't let anything out. So when you want things to go out, you want excess to go, right? But the problem is when you have excess sodium, it puts up these blocks, nothing gets out. You retain it all. What ends up happening is you get bigger, you get bigger. You metabolize the fat, carbohydrates metabolize the fat, protein metabolize the fat, and the sodium puts up these blocks. And you just, the only way to start losing weight and start, getting rid of body fat is to reduce those blocks. The only way to reduce those blocks is to reduce your sodium. Now, how much sodium do you need on a daily basis? Right, that's another question, right? This is depending on who you are. If you have low blood pressure, this advice does not apply to you because you have to go talk to your doctor. Low blood pressure is the reverse of what I'm talking about. But if you do have low blood pressure, you have to go talk to your doctor. But that being said, the amount of sodium that we actually need on a daily basis that allow our bodies to function without taking us over into excess sodium territory is about 2 grams a day. I'd say men, 2.5 grams a day. Women, you're at about 1.5 to 2 grams a day. That's all you need. You know what? That's not a whole lot, considering some of these packaged foods will contain 2 grams of sodium per serving, right? We don't even know what chances are. If you take a look in your cupboards, you're going to see packaged noodles, Kraft Dinner, these packaged foods that are going to be high in sodium. This is what I want you to do after this video is done. I want you to go to your cupboard and take a look at some of the foods in your cupboard, especially the ones in packages, the soups, the instant noodles, the Kraft Dinners, that sort of stuff. And I want you to take a look at the labels, and you will see anything over 250 milligrams per serving is too much. It's too much. What you want is per serving under 250 milligrams per serving. And chances are those noodles, Kraft Dinner types, packaged foods are going to have upwards of 400, 500, 600, 700, sometimes even 1.5, 2 grams of sodium per serving. And that's a little too much. And if you have these types of foods on a daily basis, what's going to happen is you're going to have an excess amount of sodium in your system. It's going to allow you, it's going to build up in your system. You're going to have water retention. That water retention is going to be at the cellular level. And you know what? You're going to retain that puffy look. You're going to be puffy just because of the fact that your body has retained water, just like a sponge. Think of it as a sponge. Yeah, the water doesn't go. The sponge gets bigger and bigger. And same thing with your body. And the thing about excess sodium, as I said before, it doesn't allow anything to leave your body. And you want stuff to leave your body, but excess sodium puts up these blocks, doesn't allow those toxins, the excess to leave your body. It just builds up in your system. Hence, you get the puffy look, right? Now, as I mentioned before, you have to get your sodium under control. And I will say this, folks. I'm going to say this with complete honesty and 100% truth. You get your sodium under control, as I mentioned before. Most things in your body will iron themselves out. Anything, most ailments that you have will iron themselves out if you get your sodium under control. Because excess sodium contributes to a lot of stuff. High blood pressure is one of the bad side effects of excess sodium. If you have excess sodium on a continuous basis, your blood pressure is going to creep up, your weight's going to creep up, and that leads to a host of other problems that you don't want, right? It could lead to heart disease, kidney disease, strokes. It could lead to a lot of stuff that you don't want if you continuously have high sodium-laced foods that are over and above, let's say, 4 or 5 grams a day. Get rid of your salt shaker. Get rid of your salt shaker, I'm telling you. Get rid of your salt shaker and replace your salt shaker with salt substitute. A good salt substitute, that does the trick. I'm telling you, get rid of your salt shaker, half your problems are going to be done. Because this is what happens. We have a salt shaker. We don't know how much salt we're putting on our, we have a salt shaker. We don't know how much we're putting on our meals, right? We're just shaking away. And 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of salt has 2.5 grams of sodium in it. So we could be shaking all this salt on our meals for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and our snacks. It could take us over and above 1 teaspoon. We could be taking 2 teaspoons of salt, which is close to 5 grams of sodium on a daily basis. Folks, that's not good. So my advice, replace your salt shaker with a salt substitute. Do that, and you're halfway there. Now, if you're addicted to salt or sodium, go to the grocery store and get half and half. Half sodium, half potassium. That's a good half substitute, and it'll actually reduce the amount of sodium you ingest on a daily basis. So that's the thing, folks. Sodium doesn't make you fat, right? excess sodium contributes to the way you make fat, the way you gain fat, sorry. It's excess sodium that contributes to the weight gain and the amount of fat that you put on your body. So that's the short end of it, folks. I know the game is on. I want to go check out the game, the Islanders. It's going to be a good game. I'm rooting for the Islanders, so I really want to see them go to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's what we're doing. So, hey everyone, if you haven't joined the Belly Be Gone Challenge, that one is going to be starting on October 13th. Got new sponsors on board, new prizes, new routines, new meal plans, bunch of new stuff planned for this next Belly Be Gone Challenge. A lot of great stuff happening, new support, new guidance, new resources. It's going to be awesome. So if you haven't joined the Belly Be Gone Challenge, you got to do it, because you want to know what? We got to get rid of these summer COVID pounds, man. Come on, we got to get rid of these pounds, right? Over the summer, we've been, especially what's going on with COVID and stuff like that, we've cooped up all summer. We put on a few pounds, right? So let's get rid of it. Let's make it fun, right? Let's make it fun, and we'll do it together, right? We'll lose some of these pounds together. So if you haven't joined the Belly Be Gone Challenge, PM me, message me, or comment below and say you want more information about the next Belly Be Gone Challenge. It's gonna be awesome. All right, everyone, stay strong, stay safe. All right, take care. Bye.